relations. So if we get $50 million allocation every year for the next, say, 8 years, we should be able to get to maybe near 40% rural electrification. Currently, we are standing at about 28 or so percent, which is not impressive enough. Thank you.
Mr. Katambo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On page 600, Honorable Minister, Program 2102, Item 2001. You have actually maintained or slightly reduced from 958 million to 913 million, which you have allocated to electricity development and management. Honorable Madam Speaker, I'm aware that they are carrying out rehabilitation works on the Kariba Dam, especially the reshaping works of the plunge pool and the and the 6 slice gates. Madam Speaker, we may face a calamity. In an eventuality that we face unreasonable rain, which will have an impact, Honorable Minister, on the project, are you able to affirm that the 913 million you've allocated to the electricity development and management to deal with the Kariba Dam is enough? Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Chairperson. This one I don't even have to refer to my notes. This is an engineering matter that should be looked at by the engineers who have come up with the specifications to the rehabilitation of the dam. Should there be any disaster, these projects are insured, and therefore responsibility for such a catastrophe will be passed on to whoever designed these facilities, I submit.
Mr. Kasandwe.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Minister, I am on page 597, program number 2101, the second table, line on 1002, petroleum management, where we have allocated 4.7 million. On the last paragraph on the same page, part of the 4.7 will go towards procurement of, will go towards management and facilitate supply of 1.3 cubic meters of diesel, 507,000 cubic meters of petrol, and 56,000 cubic meters of jet A1, and 3,000 cubic meters of kerosene. Minister, since you have indicated that government going forward will have no business in procuring petroleum products, so where would these petroleum products be used? And secondly, I was looking through the budget.
Honorable Mr. Kasandwe.
The simple.
No, but I had discouraged the other members so it won't look fair. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Sorry, Madam Chairperson, I was looking at the, which page was it again?
Mr. Kasandwe.
597, just the last paragraph.
The last paragraph says an allocation of 4.7 million, starting with that. Okay.
That's the one.
Yes. Okay. This is a figure. It even indicates in the budget allocation that it's an allocation of funds will be spent on the petroleum management sub-program for the undertaking activities relating to management, basically, so that we can manage the procurement of these quantities that has been indicated. I submit.
Mr. Chibombwe.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Minister, let me draw your attention to page 596, Table 3, Program 2101, Sub-Program 2001, Electricity Development. Minister, last year, 2022, there was a figure of about 958 million that was allocated to this program. And this year, there's a slight reduction. There's about 13.6 million. Now, Minister, I wanted to find out from you, is part of this money going to be used by your ministry to carry out feasibility studies on waterfalls that are earmarked for hydropower stations on the Luapula River? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Sorry, I didn't pick the sub-program. Which one? 2001.
2001.
Table 3. There's only 2101, not 20. Is it 21 or 20?
Page 596, program is 2002.
Yes.
Then just after 2102, there's program 2001, electricity development and
2001.
Yeah, which is 2001.
Okay, not
2001.
Okay, electricity development and management. Let me just check this. On electricity development management, it said, in fact, there is a reduction from the previous years, right? So these funds are allocated towards various electricity development projects, such as the Sustainable Electricity Supply Project, Kafua Livingstone Transmission Project, Increased Access to Electricity Project, Lusaka Transmission and Rehabilitation Project, Itezitezi Hydro Transmission Line Project, Kariba Dam, part of Kariba Dam hydro, rehabilitation. The decrease is to the reduction on the ongoing, because these have been ongoing projects. So we cannot keep on allocating more funds to the projects. As the project comes to an end, less money will be allocated to this sector. I submit.
Thank you. We have to make progress. I put the question. The question is that head 62, Ministry of Energy, head total 2,048,138,098 kwacha stands part of the estimates. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Head 62, Ministry of Energy, head total 2,138,098 kwacha is ordered to stand part of the estimate. We now move to the next head, head number 54. Head 54, Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, General Policy Debate, the Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, Policy Statement.
Madam Chair, allow me to thank you for this opportunity to present a policy statement in support of the budget estimates for the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development for the financial year, January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. I wish to thank the Minister of Finance most profusely for successfully presenting the budget 2023 to the nation through this August House on Friday, 30th, September 2022. Madam, the mandate of the ministry is to oversee designing, procurement, construction, rehabilitation, maintenance, management of all public infrastructure in order to improve planning, coordination, standardization, quality, and efficiency in the development of housing and infrastructure in our country. Madam Chairperson, honorable members, in 2022, the ministry had an approved budget of 619.8 million. Out of this, amount of 52 million was for personal emoluments, 81.7 million for recurrent departmental charges, including 1.3 million in appropriation in aid, 277.3 million for infrastructure development, and 64.1 million for maintenance of public building infrastructure. Further, Madam Chair, honorable members of parliament, 144.5 million was allocated towards operational grants for grant-aided institutions under the ministry. Madam Chairperson, key areas supported in the 2022 budget included, among others, staff development, policy formulation, review of key legal and regulatory frameworks, construction, rehabilitation, maintenance, and management of public infrastructure. Madam Chair, honorable members of parliament, on the policy and legislative front, the ministry undertook several policy and legislative measures to support delivery of the ministry's mandate. My ministry prepared the draft National Infrastructure Policy and Implementation Plan to guide the coordinated and sustainable development of critical national infrastructure across the sectors. The ministry also undertook provincial and district dissemination of 2020-2024 National Housing Policy and Implementation Plan. In the area of legislative reforms, Madam Chair, the ministry also amended the Public Roads Act number 12 of 2002 to provide for the restriction of execution against road development agency property and reduce composition of the board from 16 members to 9. The ministry also continued to review the National Housing Authority Act 1971. In the area of strategic planning, my ministry commenced the development of the 2022-2026 strategic plan for the ministry to guide program implementation in the next 5 years. The ministry is currently finalizing the plan, and implementation commences in 2023, supported by the 2023 national budget. In order to enhance effective coordination and participation of stakeholders in addressing the national housing deficit, my ministry successfully held a National Housing Forum under the theme Investment Strategies Towards Mass Development of Decent and Affordable Houses. This forum, Madam Chair, brought together housing developers, financiers, researchers, and other interest groups, mapped strategies of addressing the housing challenge. The outcome of the meeting are being analyzed and will be there to help the ministry in 2023 to determine which way forward. With regard to the public infrastructure development, Madam Chairperson, honorable members of parliament, my ministry completed the construction of the China-aided Kenneth Kaunda wing of the Mulungushi International Conference Center. The ministry also attained different levels of progress on the construction of other public infrastructure. The ministry embarked on a review of infrastructure contracts that have stalled for many, many years, with the aim of either terminating contracts or revising the rates to account for price fluctuations due to passage of time. Madam Chairperson, honorable members of parliament, our investment in public infrastructure must be supported by adequate and timely maintenance plans. My ministry undertook maintenance and rehabilitation of many public infrastructure buildings across the country. Some of the works covered were presidential guest houses occupied by very, very important persons and senior government officials. I must state very quickly here, Madam Chair, that however the maintenance of public infrastructure is the responsibility of all, and together we must implement the public and asset management policy of 2021 to ensure we safeguard our infrastructure investment. With respect to the valuation and property management services, Madam Chair, my ministry valued and inspected a number of government properties as well as prepared evaluation rolls for the local authorities. My ministry also commenced the development of a fixed asset register intended to assist government to plan, secure, make decisions on its assets for purposes of property developments, acquisitions, allocations, utilization, and accounting, insurance or redevelopment for idle and wasting assets. Madam Chair, in the road sector, my ministry through the RDA continues with the construction and rehabilitation of road infrastructure countrywide. Among the key road projects to improve rural road connectivity project with the World Bank, the Chinsali Nakonde Road with support of ADB. Further, my ministry through the Road Development Agency successfully signed a concession agreement with Mrs. Tabo Kachin Investment Consortium for the design, financing, and building and operation, maintenance and transfer of the Chingola Kasumbalesa Toll Road project under the PPP financing model. The government is currently undertaking negotiations on the construction of the Lusaka-Ndola dual carriageway. The negotiations are advanced, and before the end of the year, we will be giving a progressive report. Madam Chair, the budget for the ministry has been prepared in line with the President's directive for integrated planning, budgeting, as well as of ensuring that all public infrastructure projects are procured at the correct price, quality, and developed timely. With this in mind, Madam Chair, the resource allocation and priority contained in the 2023 budget for the ministry focuses on interventions that contribute to the realization of the targets set out in the 8th National Development Plan. How I wish the MP from Pika and Chienge were paying attention, because I'm being distracted, Madam Chair, and I need your...
yeah, that group there where there is the honorable member for Chienge, we are hearing your loud voices. Can you please lower the voices so that the minister, we can all hear what the minister is talking about in the policy statement. The honorable minister will continue.
Madam Chair, in 2023, the minister has allocated a total of 692.1 million, translating to 11% increase of the budget 2022 allocation of 619 million. Of this allocation, 59.8 million is for personal emoluments, 81 for recurrent departmental charges, including 1.3 appropriation in aid, and 334.2 million for infrastructure development. In addition, a total of 144 million is allocated towards the operationalization of grants to grant-aided institutions. Madam Chairperson, under the social housing development, my ministry will implement a program to construct homes for our elderly citizens and other vulnerable groups. Madam Chairperson, as I conclude, the new Dawn government has prioritized private sector participation in road infrastructure through public-private partnerships, especially in economically viable road networks, as a way of relieving pressure on the national treasury. I now turn to my honorable colleagues to seek their support in approving the budget for the Ministry of Infrastructure and Urban Development. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The Leader of Opposition.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson, for this opportunity to contribute to this very important head. I want to state from the onset that I support the budget on infrastructure, but wish to make some comments to it. Madam Chairperson, this is a very, very important ministry. Infrastructure is the backbone of any development in any country. In our country today, the history about the potential in tourism, the potential in agriculture, and many other sectors has been there for time immemorial. The only time we meaningfully realize this potential is when there is full development of infrastructure. Road infrastructure is very important. Airport infrastructure is very important. Water infrastructure, very important, and many other forms of infrastructure. Madam Chairperson, in the past regime, we had what we called an integrated multi-sectoral approach in tackling development. This is the reason why you found that in certain areas, areas received communication towers, they received roads, water infrastructure, among others. My appeal to the new Dawn government is that going forward, they must continue with that development trajectory. We haven't seen much in the past budget, Madam Speaker. I know very well that CDF is there to be able to tackle some development at local level. Major infrastructure like road infrastructure, bridges, and many other forms of infrastructure like aerodromes cannot come by way of CDF. It's therefore an appeal to the Minister of Finance to consider and ensure that key infrastructure is looked at so that development in energy, tourism, and many other sectors is enhanced. Madam Chairperson, when we look at the PPP, I've heard the Minister of Infrastructure many a time come on the floor of this House to talk about PPP. There is need to really relook at this particular mode of development, as many of our infrastructure, many of our roads actually do not qualify under this PPP. Madam Chairperson, I would want to mention here that this is a model that has been tested before and tried from as far back as 2015. It was realized by the private sector that the traffic volume on most of these roads could actually not justify the financial models. A case in point, you look at a road like Apiru Nakonde. I remember very well that way back in 2015, there was an attempt to put that on PPP, and many contractors, both local and foreign, went and participated. The result was that even where we thought there was so much traffic on that road, the traffic volumes could not justify the financial model. It's therefore important that maybe government comes up with a hybrid. Government needed to come up with a hybrid, where part of the capital expenditure is paid for from the road itself, but the other part may have to be subsidized by government going forward. Because at the end of the day, besides the business component, there's a social aspect, attached to it. And at the same time, this particular infrastructure will also help develop many other sectors that will, in future, be economic sectors. So, Honorable Minister of Finance, there is need, to review the PPP. We may need to do a little bit more than we are doing now. Coming from a business background, I know for certain that most of these roads do not qualify. We looked at these models. The documents are there at the Ministry of Infrastructure. Many of these roads were tried under this particular, program and could just not go through. So when Minister of Infrastructure comes to the floor of the House and assures the nation about how many PPP programs there will be, sometimes we get worried because the facts are there that many of these roads will actually not qualify. Madam Chairperson, this sector is a professional sector. It's a sector that is run by professionals. It's one of the most organized sectors. And I think that going forward, there is need for those that are in charge of this sector to fully understand this particular sector. I know that this is a sector that is run by engineers. If you learn to trust these engineers, they'll give you the right advice. Many a time, us as politicians have gone against the advice that these engineers give. And that is why there are problems in these sectors. This sector, Madam Chairperson, is one sector that you can look at to be in the Champions League because it's run by professionals, highly trained engineers run this particular sector. So I would want to call upon the Minister of the Infrastructure to look at the area of supervision, enhance the area of supervision, consultancy, so to speak, the areas of design. Many a time, Madam Chairperson, we have seen politicians go on site and start exchanging words with contractors. That is not supposed to be. You need to understand how these contracts are formulated. On a particular contract, Madam Chairperson, there are three parties. You have the contractor, you have a consultant, and you have a client. The client's responsibility is to pay. The consultant's responsibility is to supervise. So when you go to site, Comrades, do not harass the contractor. The person to answer your question is a consultant. The one who is responsible for the quality of any project is a consultant and not a contractor. I'm also appealing through this platform to all contractors. When politicians come to you, don't answer any questions. It's not your responsibility. It's the responsibility of the consultant. That is the truth. Comrade Kapala, a consultant, advised my colleagues there. Under strict contract management, the contractor should not even respond to you. The consultant who is asked to manage the designs and supervise, for the information of those that may not know, a particular site is assigned a consultant who is in charge to even look at the quality of your sand, quality of your cement, and everything else. He literally holds the contractor by his hand and ensures that he does the right thing. What we are talking about is not politics. This is contract management. We are speaking from an authoritative point of view, for those that may not know. So we want to help politicians. This is for the good of government also. When you enhance the supervision capabilities, you get the product value for money, as it were. So, Minister of Infrastructure, let's look at...
Honorable members on my right, let's not debate while seated. Let's give the leader of opposition time to debate in silence.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm trying to, assist so that the contracts that government is channeling out, government can get value for money. Trust the work of engineers. Those are highly qualified. This is a sector that is run by highly qualified individuals. Many a time, those of us that go to supervise these highly qualified individuals are the ones that make mistakes, because we turn this into politics. A contract is a contract. Communication in a contract is guided. Privity of contract. You don't have everybody communicating on a contract. It's only now that people think it's a crime to have a contract. We have heard people come here thinking that all those who have contracts are criminals. No, those are legal documents. Yeah? Colleagues, please be guided from today onwards. There is no crime in having a contract. All those contracts are cleared through Attorney General's office. Those contracts are guided. The notion that contractors run away with money is neither here nor there. The way these contracts are run, for information of those that may not know, if, whether foreign or local, you are going to get money from government, you've got to present bonds. At any given time, Madam Speaker, government is never exposed on this. It's important that we give guidance to many of our colleagues. I've listened to some embarrassing statements on the floor.
Order, there is an indication for a point of order. Mr. Kambita, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, I rise on Standing Order number 65, which is instructive in terms of being relevant to the debate. Is the honorable member, who is also leader of the opposition, in order to seemingly start debating himself regarding his own contracts, where he failed to deliver? And we should all be convinced that contractual issues must arise. Is he in order to go on that trajectory? Madam Chairperson, I need your serious ruling.
Honorable members, I think all what I can say is that the minister will come to respond at the end of when everybody has debated. But maybe a guide to the honorable member, can we please try to be focused on the head? Yes, we are looking at the budget under this ministry. Let's try to be focused on this.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. I'm sure you appreciate the reason I went to that extent, to just try to help some misguided debate on the floor of the House. Yeah, so let some of these members be guided that this is a highly regulated sector. Nobody walks out with government money. Nobody. A vengeful government like the UPN, do you think I'll be standing here if I'd walked out with government money?
The leader of opposition, can we please move on? Let's make progress towards the head. Instead of exchanging words,
They are not stopping the watch.
let's make progress.
Yes, Madam Speaker, the other point I was making is on the issue of alternative dispute resolution. In managing these contracts, the ministry must ensure that it looks at what is called alternative dispute resolution, arbitration. These are contracts where government spends colossal sums of money. We should not take pride in terminating contracts. There's the ultimate loser is government. Each time these contracts are terminated, the ultimate loser is government. We have seen the recent termination of some contracts in Western Province. Government may end up losing up to $40 million. So colleagues, as you make decisions to terminate these contracts, consider alternative dispute resolution going forward so that government money is saved and,
Yes, time is up.
Madam, they should also be stopping the watch when others are talking. My time was eaten. Let's be honest. It's not fair.
We have to move forward. The time is up. Can we have the next debater, Mr. Msanje?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for allowing the
people, ICT people at the back, please be mindful of the way you are controlling your time so that we don't have issues in the House. The honorable member for Chiengi, please, you were not given the floor. I'm sure ICT has heard. Can we make progress, Mr. Msanje?
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Speaker, Chairperson, for allowing the good people of Mbabara to contribute and support Head 54 on the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing, and Urban Development. Madam Chairperson, this is a very, very important ministry that is anchored on the New Dawn government in terms of development work that we are going to unlock for this country.
Can we have order?
Madam,
we want to listen to the debate.
Madam Chairperson, this ministry is anchored on the Africa Agenda 2063, where we want to see an urbanized and industrialized Africa. And as the rural areas like Mbabara constituency, we don't want to be left out of this process of being industrialized and urbanized. We want to see quality housing for our people. Therefore, we support the head that is talking about housing finance, social housing, and settlement improvement, by virtue of asking the ministry to also reach out to the rural areas so that we can continue to improve the quality of houses. Every time we have a rainy season like this, we lose a number of houses that collapse. I think last year we lost over 60 houses that collapsed because of the quality of housing. And this year already we have lost over 7 houses already due to this rain season in the Kabanga area of Karundu Ward in Mbabara constituency. Therefore, we need the ministry to come up with the programs that help our people to improve the quality of housing, that is going to ensure that we have housing microfinance or housing finance programs in the rural areas as well, and as we move towards urbanization, as well as social housing programs, working with the other partners or stakeholders such as the Civic Forum on Housing and Habitat that are working in this area, so that we can use cooperative housing to ensure that we improve the quality of housing materials as well as the services and the like. Madam Chairperson, I also want to talk about public infrastructure. And public infrastructure for us of concern in Mbabara is the Choma Namara Road, which is a key road for us with its bridges, as well as the Pemba Road, which is also a key road. Pemba Road alone has got about 8 bridges. And the massive development which was being talked about by the previous government left us with the 8 collapsed bridges. In the 10 years of PF, these bridges were never fixed. Up to now, they are out of the road. When I went there on Sunday, we have to, 3 times we have to go off into the river for you to cross on this road. And this is a public asset. This is a huge road that connects the people of Bavara, Mangunza area to Pemba into Monze, as well as ensuring that we have quick movement of goods and services. As we are in the rain season right now, this is the only bridge that is remaining on that road. It was also developed big holes that I even took pictures on. And so we wonder when we hear about massive development, when we have these bridges that were washed away for a period of 10 years and nothing was being done. So therefore, Madam Chairperson, we look forward now to the new government in the methodical manner of its work that is able to work and do these jobs to fix the bridges on the Pemba Road as well as the Kachenje Mangunza, the road which is also a public road because this is a key road that leads us to another part of the constituency. The Choma Namwara Road, as we saw the heavy rains of last year, shook a number of our bridges. And most of them, we have shown that the infrastructure under there is shaken. And we want to see that the Ministry of Infrastructure comes to maintain these assets before they are washed off during this rain season. That way, we are going to maintain these public assets and ensure that they are serving our people. Madam Chairperson, it is important that the maintenance program of RDA is not only seen to patch the road, the main road itself, but to actually deal with the base that holds these roads. As such, it is an important factor that we want to see the ministry come on board to help us in Mbabara and ensure that this big asset, we don't lose it, especially the Mwera Bridge, because this is a bridge that links us to the other side into Namwera. This is a very, very important bridge, and we want to see that it is being supported or repaired fully. Madam Chairperson, we also have other concern areas like the Meander Bridge that I keep talking about here, which we have reported to the ministry, and it is cut off 450 children out of school who are not able to cross at this bridge because of the issues surrounding it, including the Nefwe Bridge that leads us to the famous Dundumwezi. This bridge also is an RDA bridge and has been reported to RDA together with Chambwa Bridge, and we want to see the Road Development Agency under the Ministry of Infrastructure come to resolve this bridge and its issues. Madam Chairperson, we also want to see the improvement of our various roads. Yes, we are in a rural area, but we want...
Can we lower our voices on my right? May I continue?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I also wanted to talk about areas that don't have bridges, like the Ampinda Smaovi area that has no bridge completely, that we need to see a bridge there, as well as I was talking about the other important bridges such as Harumba Bridge that needs to be replaced. This is a bridge that has killed a lot of people. Last year we lost 3 women, and this is a bridge that connects the constituency through this loop road or loop areas. Madam Chairperson, these infrastructure are important to us, especially the roads that we want to see being worked on and that we want to see our share of the development under the new Dawn government, now that we've got a methodical leadership in President Hakainde Hichilema, as well as his excellent Minister, Honorable Mirupi, who is doing a good job, assisted here by Hon Nkombo today. We are very confident that we are going to have these things worked on or fixed because we are working on dealing with the issues that failed us in the last 10 years, where we were doing poor contracting, doing a lot of bad debt, and many other things. Now that these things are being fixed, Madam Chairperson, we do believe that our government is going to come to our aid so that we can equally experience the massive development that was being talked about, but which we just wish to hear by word of those who are speaking. Madam Chairperson, I wish to thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Banda.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson, for giving me the opportunity to debate on head number 54 of the Ministry of Infrastructure and Housing Development. Allow me to say that as the people of Muchinga, we are very happy and very hopeful that we are going to see development during this New Dawn government, the development that we have not seen for the past 10 plus years. I'm saying this because I have some infrastructures in Muchinga constituency that have not been looked at. For example, we have the Luxach Bridge, which recently collapsed, and under the New Dawn, we have seen the speed and commitment that they are trying to work on the bridge through DMMU, which of course is in a temporal form, and we expect that under the Ministry of Infrastructure, we are going to get something permanent. This bridge has been there since 2005, and no government has ever looked to make it a permanent structure. So this tells us that we were left behind in development, and that's the reason why we could not come here as the people of Muchinga to praise the development that we hear about, because in Muchinga constituency, we never had anything. We have the Chivale and Chivale-Ndavala road. It's just 48 kilometers. The road is quite busy, and I must mention that time to time we do grade it, but within no time, again, the waves comes back because of the business of the road. We are looking forward to this New Dawn government that this road can be considered for upgrade. Our colleagues considered so much the roads in urban areas, not knowing that we also need better roads in rural areas, especially those, very strategic roads like the one I'm talking about. We have a bridge as we go to Luswasi Power Station, and I'm sure Honorable Minister of Energy also should take interest to sit with the Infrastructure Minister. This bridge is a death trap, and we have lost lives of late. It's a very bad bridge. It has to be looked at, Honorable Minister for Infrastructure. This is an appeal through this debate. Again, Honorable Minister, I want to mention here that in the infrastructure of housing units, please come to rural districts. Your civil servants also need to benefit like their colleagues are benefiting in towns. We have housing units that are done by the National Housing Authority in Lusaka, Copperbelt, and other areas. We need to see these in districts also, so that your people there as well should be benefiting. I think, Honorable Minister, through you, Madam Chairperson, I may have a lot of things to say, but I know that we are many.
Order. There's an indication for a point of order. Mr. Chirangwa, what is your point of order?
Standing order number 65, that the information we provide on the floor of this House must be factual. The Honorable Member on the floor of the House is talking about a road that has not been done in the last 10 years, and he goes further to say since 2005. Does he think that 2005 PF was in government? He does not recall very well that that period under review, one Vice President George Kunda was in charge of that constituency. Does he think that Vice President George Kunda was under PF government? We need to be factual and put the information that we have. Is it in order to state that 2005 was under the last 10 years? I need your serious ruling.
Thank you for that point of order. From what I was hearing, I didn't hear the Honorable Member mention any political party. He just mentioned the years to say during the last 10 years, and also he mentioned 205. He did not mention any political party, which we can start arguing about. So the honorable member, Mr. Banda, was actually in order. He avoided to mention the political party. If he had mentioned the political party, then there was a case to argue about. Mr. Banda, you may continue.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. It's always important to mention when things were not done right. We shouldn't hide. Our people needs the services. I have the Kavansa Road, 54 kilometers from Chiefness Serenge. The road is quite bad going to the valley. We can't give them any services. Recently, we had some cement to transport. We spent about 3 months looking for transport. No transporters were ready, and the only transporter that we got, the vehicle had an accident and somebody lost life. This is the road that is not new. It has been there before. So if we say that we didn't receive development, this is what we mean, because that's what we are looking for. If the road was done, I would be standing here to say, okay, they did this road. So, Honorable Minister Infrastructure, we are looking forward. Please help us. We have partners who have given us some building materials to do a clinic there. And we are trying. Of course, let me mention that Honorable Minister of Defense helped us with the transport, to transport the material. And this is the hope that the new dawn is giving us. People used to fly with helicopters during campaigns and elections, but we have never seen it. Okay? Now, in this new dawn, helicopters flew taking food there for the first time since 2002. So, if I don't mention here that the new dawn is giving us hope, then I'm doing myself a disservice. That's the hope I have. Honorable leader for opposition, that's the hope that we have. And we have to mention that this government is going to give us what we need.
Member, please avoid involving other members in the House in your debate.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. If it means to be one-term MP because I'm speaking for the people, let it be. But I will not need to sit here for 2 terms while warming the bench without saying the facts. Madam Chairperson, to the Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, please help us do this road that goes to Kavansa. Of course, it goes through the valley, but I know that government can manage to do it. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Let me come to the end of my debate so that my colleagues there should smile. Thank you.
Mr. Chitotela.
I thank you, Madam Chairperson, for the opportunity for me to debate. And you hear the history.
As the time is 12:55 hours, I interrupt the proceedings and committee work stands adjourned. The committee will report progress and ask leave to sit again. Madam Speaker, I have to report to the House that the Committee of Supply on the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 1st January 2023 to 31st December 2023 has gone through head 62 and has made progress and asked leave to sit again.
Thank you. Day for resumption of committee work.
Tomorrow.
Tuesday, next week, Madam Speaker.
Committee work to resume next Tuesday. The House is now adjourned.
There you have it. That note brings us to the end of today's live parliamentary proceedings. Business resumes next week on Tuesday. It's that time when we get to look at business that has been transacted on the floor of the House for Senate.
Yes, when business resumed at 09 hours, Madam Speaker did make an announcement, and this announcement was to inform the House that the International Association of Lions Clubs District 413, Zambia Lions Club of Chadley, has been authorized to conduct a one-day free diabetes awareness campaign as a way of commemorating the 2022 Global Campaign Against Diabetes. The event will take place on Monday, 5th December 2022 at the main reception area here at Parliament Building from 09 hours to 16 hours. And she did also say that the interested members are encouraged to take advantage of the important event and inquire more information on diabetes.
And of course, we did, it being a Friday, we did have honor the Vice President's question time, a 45-minute segment that does accommodate members of Parliament, that gives members of Parliament an opportunity to ask her honor the Vice President questions without notice.
Quite a number of members of Parliament did ask a question from her honor, and after that we did see the Madam Speaker permitting the Minister of Energy, and this is Engineer Peter Chibwe Kapala MP, to render a ministerial statement, and this ministerial statement was on the hydrological situation at the Kariba complex. The detail of the ministerial statement flooded.
Absolutely. He also did talk about the measures that are being taken to mitigate the reduced power generation. And the Honorable Minister of Energy did say that during the year 2022, the lake's water level has been decreasing steadily on account of low inflows from the mainstream Zambezi River and its tributaries. And the situation has now worsened due to the overutilization of water for sustained power generation, which has resulted in low water levels at the lake. And as of 28 November 2022, the Kariba Lake water levels stood at 476.9 meters above sea level, representing only 4.12% of usable water storage for power generation.
It further said that the low water level situation in the Lake Kariba threatens the power generation for both the Kariba North Bank Hydro Power Station from the Zambian side and the Kariba South Bank Hydro Power Station from the Zimbabwean side. It is projected that if the current power generation and subsequent water utilization continues, the minister did say that the remaining water for power generation at the Kariba complex, also referred to us as live storage, will not be sufficient for the power generation beyond mid-December 2022.
And so against this background, measures aimed at rationing the water in the lake in order to avoid the complete shutdown of electricity generation activities at the Kariba Complex Dam have been implemented. The minister did say that the measures will be phased and revisited from time to time over the next 4 months in order to ensure security of electricity supply and mitigate the impact of the economy. And so some of these measures include a directive by the Zambezi River Authority that Zambezi River Authority has with immediate effect directed Zimbabwe Power Company to immediately ensure that power generation activities at South Bank Power Station are reduced to a maximum of 300 megawatts instead of 600 megawatts. The other measure is power generation optimization. All its hydropower stations in Zambia, that's the Kariba North Bank, Victoria Falls, Small Hydros, Kafue Gorge, and Kafue Gorge Lower Power Stations.
The third measure that the minister highlighted was that the government will fast-track the development of generation projects in order to increase the robustness of the energy sector to adverse impacts of climate change. He did say that government shall also tap from existing generation which are operated by private players with the view to optimize power dispatch to mitigate the impact of the reduced generation from the Kariba complex. Additionally, he did say that the situation warranted consideration shall be made to import power from the Southern African Power Pool when available.
There you have it. That's the hydrological situation at Kariba Lake Dam. This is in line with the ministerial statement that was delivered by the Minister of Energy, Honorable Kapala. Thereafter, the House did resolve into Committee of Supply, and there was resumption of committee work as regards Head 62. That's the Ministry of Energy, and this particular head has been agreed to, and the monies that have been allocated to this head is 2,048,138,098 kwacha.
The other head that was under consideration when business was interrupted by the chairperson was Head 54, Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. We did see the Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Gary Nkombo, giving a policy statement, and Muchinga, Member of Parliament, Mr. Banda, did debate to this head, and at the time business was interrupted, it was Pambashe, Member of Parliament, Mr. Ronald Chitotela, who was about to begin debate this head. So basically, Claudette, this is what has been considered on the floor of the House today.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure having you tuned in to Parliament Television. We're back next week on Tuesday for more live parliamentary proceedings. From all of us here, wishing you a pleasant weekend and pleasant viewing. Bye-bye for now.
Subscription for just 349 kwacha. Go TV. Love it.
This is Doha. This is Qatar. This is the World Cup 2022.
It is time, once more, for the world to stand still.
Stand still? Nah.
We come together tonight, a billion of us, in every corner of the globe where the beautiful game matters.
Here for the show-stopping magic of a moment.
And the explosion of
hope and glory.
Brothers, sisters.
Unwanted people, I fancy them.
We come here for heroes.
And for heartache.
Heartache? Come now, Peter, we're not here for that. Not this time, mate.
Get and stay connected to DSTV and watch all 64 matches. Here for every fan.
You're really so messy!
Live on SuperSport.
Mom, Dad, little brother, big sis, grandpa, and grandma. Everyone's going to be smiling when you upgrade to DSTV Family. Because there's something for everyone. Like unmissable, must-watch international series.
Why is he in here?
Fascinating documentaries, real-life crime and medical dramas, as well as the hottest lifestyle programming.
I'm earning some cool husband points here.
The best of Bollywood, including blockbuster movies and award-winning telenovelas.
So much love in the air.
Authentic local stories celebrating the heroes, communities and traditions of Africa.
You're so good at this.
And of course, fantastic European football action with La Liga and Serie A. And to make you smile even more, you get this family-sized entertainment for a lot less than you think. So, upgrade to DSTV Family today using the My DSTV app and keep everyone you love happy.
kutina bechipuba mumano yowe yembosha munshila narifuma naribilo kukontoloka bwesha ichitemwiko kukumutima chila mpima pameso nshimono bubino buzuma nadishiwani webo mukabene tekukushupa ala chitemwiko fe esho kukubalala nokukulabako uyo mutima wa mupampamina kosopalubalala kutyafuilapo. I can't understand. Can somebody make me understand? Kutina koshasha nyumutima kuni mukabene. Chite mwikofe desho kukubalala no kukula bako. Uyo mutima wa mupampamina kose palubalala kutafuilapo. I can't understand. Can somebody make me understand? Kutina koshasha nyumutima kuni mukabene. Ala hawishiwa vyabanandi vampwenamo. Ala hawishiwa baby hawishiwa bamimuline bamonamo mungu lungana bashimikile fintu mpitamo teine mutima eulengande moneke chikubefi nga fintu nalandile pakubala nebonandila munimbo nisambelele konuse ukutemwa iwenga lubembu amaikulikane ntambo tekwebati kutemwa kwabo nififinde filenga lelo nambula bantu nainendesha ukukulama nokufaya kwabambi chashupa pe uyu mutima wa mupampamina ngafasho wakungafwa wakumfumya mubwapya muntu nasangwamu yelele ala papa papa chite mwikofe ndesho kukubalala nokukula bako uyu mutima wa mupampamina kusepalubalala kutyafuilapo. I can't understand. Can somebody make me understand? Kutina koshashanya koshashanya kuli mukabene. Chite mwikofe ndesho kukubalala nokukula bako uyu mutima wa mupampamina kusepalubalala kutyafuilapo. I can't understand. Can somebody make me understand? Kutina koshashanya mutima kuli mukabene. Kumenso yabantu nalemoneke chipuba lelo mumenso yobe ni wewe waishi befintu nalefwaya chupo nalefwaya tekukwangasha awe nomba destiny hey. Walisumina bambi niwe mukabeni mumenso yabantu demoneka ngo walubembu. Okay, twala chitefi, satu chitefi, leka tushilelesa. Yewa tuletele chapamo, umwina katuwesha. Na yata wakatale mbonapo. Na yata wakatale mbonapo. Chachila, na yata wakatale mbonapo. Esa milundile kwejiku. Mamyule njubukisha na yata wakatale mbonapo. Na yata wakatale mbonapo. Na yata wakatale mbonapo. Lesa milundile kweshiku. Mamyule njubukisha na yata wakatale mbonapo. Na yata wakatale mbonapo. Na yata wakatale mbonapo. Lesa milundile kwenshiku. Abazanda That's the situation whereby you don't understand anything, you know. You don't know if it's to follow your heart, your mind, your friends. Nangu kuposa mafetao. support the 4G music.
Banuna chungu. Akansoni karibu na ngumfule pabantu mwilanje batawe yote tichimoneke bwino kubantu tulaikoselesha twalisulwa ngolefwa kulunda pofyo bepaline nga wonkwaru kale twasebana bali tule bowling ati tatumfwa fwebo twalisebana kale twasebana muka relationship paka kutonselela twalisebana moneni balia bala moneka fyabalwala tabagurwa mu vibalabala abana dibo kufyalafyala poste ko picture tuli wafiko insere sheka ni hatiko kutupendele mirandu mathematiko okenishwala vela na masakamiko ilia yali ni famila pabalipo pala liposi nombalifo ama fruits of labor yonse baliswa bashunguluka fye balipya apa kwalishala fyo kututobama katule ipitila bala tufwisa mati arike mutuntenda nabakoti okeni life yandisola bakofi akansoni kalifu na ngumfule pabantu mwilanje batawe yote tichimoneke bwino kubantu tulaikoselesha twalisulwa ngolefwa kulunda pofyo bepaline nga wonkwaru kale twasebana bali tule bowling ati tatumfwa fwebo twalisebana kale twasebana muka relationship paka kutonselela twalisebana kale twasebana kale twasebana
Pyatika moneni kama mbala Ifikonge chumbu chandala Kama nakwati kutika kalilila Femu ya wanga meshi kala itailila Android pate after pate Chiko kukumutima chiku pate Na papata mpange niko kunyagi Papati langu nyanke maansa mwalenje suka Na inewa shema wakanje suka Fwevembesha kumushibwadi wala shala Istoke kale twasebana Kale
twasebana bali tule bowling ati tatumfwa fwebo twalisebana kale twasebana muka relationship paka kutonselela twalisebana ikapo kuwayawaya someti wabo ni mbaya katwishi noko bakaya ero bari kwata posting inenzala ngaba kwafwanisha icyaro cyose kwishiba bambya banesu benda nechiwa mwikatwarisha mukweshiwa mwati kwata time yakumwenesha mwefibwa fobo tatitino kumonekela nefisungu fyatobeka kumipela tulima storyteller life is so broken beyond the repair natupange group tulese balina pamo ero nshaka chinje life ilikamo balaturanda polyonse tulomfo ati defo ifwala tubumfia kale twasebana bali tule bowling ati tatumfwa fwebo twalisebana kale twasebana muka relationship paka kutonselela twalisebana pandagandalam niko jiko mukonga Mr. Frankie Pamongo Charlie Young Papa Jasmine Boutique Chile One Standard Man